Welcome to this tutorial on using height maps for terrain generation. Today, we're going to explore how to create stunning terrains programmatically using Java. First, let's understand what height maps are. A height map is a grayscale image where the intensity of each pixel represents elevation data. Darker pixels mean lower elevations, and brighter pixels indicate higher elevations. For our tutorial, the goal will be to load a height map image and use it to generate a 3D terrain mesh that we will render. We'll use the Java AWT and JavaFX libraries. Let's start by setting up a new Java project. You can use any IDE you prefer. I recommend IntelliJ IDEA or Eclipse. Create a new Java project and add the JavaFX libraries to your build path. Next, let's create a method to load the height map image. We will use Java's ImageIO class. First, import the necessary classes. Now, let's write a method to read a height map from a file. We will use BufferedImage to read the image data. Now that we have loaded the height map, let's move on to extracting the height data from the image. We will iterate through each pixel of the image and convert its RGB value into a height value. In this example, we normalize the height values to a range of A0, 1, by dividing the pixel intensity by 255. This will come in handy when scaling our terrain. Next, we will generate the terrain mesh. For this, we will define vertices in a 3D space based on the height data we collected. Here, we create a new vertex class that takes x, y coordinates and the scaled height to create a 3D coordinate. We can define the scale factor to adjust the height of the terrain as desired. Next, let's talk about creating a graphical representation of the mesh vertices we've generated. We'll use JavaFX to create a 3D scene. We will create a method that sets up the 3D environment and visualizes the terrain. We need to include the necessary JavaFX packages in our imports. Now, let's define a method to create a scene from the vertices we generated. We will construct a triangle mesh object that captures our terrain. Below this part, you would include the mesh face definitions to tell JavaFX how to connect the vertices. This is typically done by defining the indices of points in the triangle mesh. Finally, let's set up the scene graph and launch our application. We will initialize the JavaFX application now, creating and displaying the stage. And that's it. You now have a basic terrain generator using height maps in Java. You can modify the scale and even the height map image itself to create different terrains. Experiment with the parameters and see what unique landscapes you can come up with. Before we wrap up, make sure to explore different height maps and try integrating textures on your terrain for a more realistic approach. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more content, and let us know what topics you want to see next in the comments.